Brakes today. Already done the other side, so right back up to speed. Not a difficult job. I'm going to go through the basics. Undo your brake hose while your caliper's still on the bike. Now I know that this is only finger tight anyway. I like to use a 6-point socket, so that's got 6 faces. There are plenty that have 12, and so on. I like the six face socket. I think it grips best. If they were tight, and they were tight when I first started, I'd just lean on this. And sometimes even literally just pop my knee on it until you hear a right good crack, and off it comes. They put the screws right back where they came from immediately. I got my kit from Brake Masters, and it's really good. These stainless steel replacement pistons are absolutely beautiful, and you'll see when I pull these out that the originals are really quite corroded and do want chucking, because the rubber seals that are in here will never seal properly onto a corroded piston. Same as the forks, you can't get a rubber seal to seal onto rust or pitting. We've got 2 hydraulic pistons in there. You can see just behind, there you go. Can you see those 2? 1, 2. These are hydraulic pistons, okay? And when we pump fluid into these 2 chambers behind these pistons, those pistons are forced out. As they're forced out, there they are. As they're forced out, because they're fastened to the brake pad on the other side, pistons go out and they drag this, so they push this pad towards the disc, and they also pull this pad towards the disc, and this whole brake caliper floats, there we go, you can see it there, floats on this that mounts to the forks. And not surprisingly, this is called a floating caliper. So I'm not refurbishing these because I think they're brilliant, and I'm not binning them because I think they're crap. Just going to refurbish these because they're going to be good enough for now. So first thing I'm going to do is this pin here. See it there? That pin there holds these brake pads in. Now this slotted screw is just a cap. It's just a cap that covers this pin. So first thing I'm going to do is get that out. Now that's really fragile, that's really easily munted. So I'm going to pop it in the vise, which has got aluminium grips on it so it won't damage it, and I'm going to get the best, firmest grip that I possibly can on this and give it my best shot. These sorts of things are do it once, give it your best shot. If it goes wrong, you can often be in a world of pain. If I rip the head off that and it doesn't come off, I'm in trouble. Don't adjust your sound. I do have a fly in the workshop who is clearly riding a 2-stroke, as all flies do. So this is in my aluminium jawed vise, just finger tight, but still tight enough to not move, but also with these jaws are nice and soft. This is what's coming out, fingers crossed. It's fairly tidy at the moment. It's not been munted by the last guy who pulled it apart. I have got a good fitting fat blade in there, and I've got plenty of movement. Okay, here goes. I'm going to press down and make sure that it's seated. Take your time, set yourself up with this. I'm not apologising for okay, now that's a good example of don't go there. Would you believe that fly's butting me off? Okay, not happy with that. I think if I give that any more, that's going to pull the head off that. This is an impact driver. Now, before I whack this, I'm going to just try turning it with my hand, because I actually think that this blade is a better fit in there. So I'm going to try turning it with my hand. Nope. Okay, so we are going to whack it, but before we whack it, I'm going to check that is super secure. Pop that down in the vise. Okay. Now, definitely with the impact wrench, you get one go. Right then, here we go. Okay. There we go. Now down inside there we've got a Allen head. So the head of that pin is actually an Allen head, okay? Now, good a fitting as you can get in there. There we go. There were options that I was going to give you if it didn't want to come out, but we're okay because it did. Okay. In the pan with you. Out you come. Out you come. So here's the caliper. And here is the floating mechanism. This should float all the way out. There you go. Now, just inside, to stop the steel brake pads from rubbing through the aluminium caliper, we have little stainless steel wear plate that's in there to stop it wearing through there. Put that there. Little rubber seal that comes in the kit, so chuck that off, don't need that. Another little aluminium stainless steel wear plate just there. Pop that out. We've got a new rubber one of those, so let's whack that off. Yes, we will remove that. Let's remove that. Hello, fly. Did you see the fly there? Just made a little guest appearance. Probably because I smell. Now, who was it? I'm so sorry, I'm rubbish with names. I'm almost as bad with names as I am with maths. But one of you gentlemen told me that you had snapped your bleed nipple off. So I'm going to take extra care. Let's see what size you are. Oh, 8mm, okay. Let's take you off. Okay. I don't know how that will have broken for my friend who did break his. Don't know. So that's out, that's out, that's out. Right. Here are your two pistons, and you can just about see a bit of corrosion in there. Now, only because I am throwing these away. I am just going to grab them. Okay. I would not be doing this because, and you can see that the pliers are marking the edges of these, okay, as they come out, as I twist them out. Now, one way that I like to do, I've done in the past, certainly with Yamaha brakes, was I've blocked the nipple up and put a grease nipple in there and pumped the piston full of grease until it pushes it out. As with most things that I'm trying to remove, I am turning and pulling at the same time. I just find that it works well for me. I'm not taking that off, no need to. Do not do this if you are planning on using yours again, but I'm not. Okay, inside these pistons you can see that I have 2 rubber seals that prevent the hydraulic fluid, that is brake fluid, from going past the piston. These were a surprisingly good investment. I thought, wow, come on, really? Does anyone really need to buy a specially funny shaped pick? But I use this thing all the time. It's really, really useful. Now, when you're getting in there and we're going to pull these out, don't score inside this cylinder. Don't score it with that sharp end, okay? So we are going to prod on the rubber, okay? Not on the metal, okay? Prodding on the rubber, not on the metal. There we go. We've literally stabbed it in the middle. And like so much of the other rubber that we've seen on this bike, it will have just perished right in the middle of the rubber. Out you come. Right in the middle of the rubber. Out you come. I don't work for these guys, but I do recommend, if you can get it, yes, I think it's an Australian product. There must be something similar in your country. This is listed here as phosphoric acid. It says just there, phosphoric acid. Okay, so I don't think it's actually that unique, but it works bloody ace. Pop a bit in there, that's plenty. Now, just before I start cleaning, just make a mental note of how crusty it all is. Right, I'm going to give that a minute. Turn my attention to this. Now, I suppose it should give you some idea about how corrosive this is, because it just doesn't hurt your fingers. I'm aware that this is a corrosive acid. It said phosphoric acid, it said it on it. But then, so's lemon juice, so Coca-Cola. Okay, so there's acid and there's acid. So if anyone, I don't think for a second that anyone is going, oh, look at you, it's acid, you've got it on your fingers. Let's not imagine that, well, you don't need to worry. This stuff is not going to peel your skin off. see just there, it's I wonder if I've got that on the lens of the camera. You're pretty close at the moment. So just dried it off and it's pretty good, pretty happy with that. Now I'm just going to get the old Scotch-Brite in there, and only because some of the faces have got no finish on them. Okay, so there's a couple of little tabs and areas that have got no paint on them, so they've got a little bit of corrosion on them, and whilst the aluminium cleaner is great for getting that off, Scotch-Brite helps it. Now, inside, I'm going to get the Scotch-Brite in there, inside the bores of the two pistons, and just give them a bit of a clean out with the Scotch-Brite. Have a good look inside the groove that the seal goes in, because if you can give it a gentle scrape, and I mean gentle, with your prod, just check that it's clear. You need a good seal in there. It won't hurt to give it a gentle scrape, not gouging it, but if there's any sort of loose corrosion in there, that might get it out and help that seal. We're going to now use a small amount of rubber grease to help the seals, and a small amount of lithium grease for the slides. Now, don't worry if you don't have any rubber grease. It comes in the kit. Red rubber assembly grease. Oh, by the way, rubber grease doesn't cause your seals to swell. Regular grease will. So we're going to put, now there's the fat seal. It's completely square section fat seal. Okay, put some around the outside to help it seat. I basically just kneel down a bit. How about that? I just sort of squidge it all over. There we go. Get some on your fingers, squidge it all over, and now that pushes in to the deepest slot. And it's lovely and supple. Okay, and you can twist it and move it all around. Just move it to the light a bit better there. Make sure it's properly seated before you consider it done. So just run your finger around inside and just check that that is seated properly, and that is. Pum, pum, pum. Same with the other one. I don't think there is a real official way of getting those in. I think it's just a matter of, that's what your hand dexterity is, just use it. So there, both the deep seals are in now. Okay, now we've got thinner seals that have sort of double wiper groove on them. by the time you're picking these up, your hands are fairly greasy anyway, so you can just fiddle around with them for a bit just to get them a bit of rubber grease on them. Certainly I'm checking. Now this camera is right in front of the light, so I'm popping you just there. That took a little longer than expected, but was worthwhile. Once you're entirely happy that they are seated, tiniest smear of rubber grease, not that much. Most of that came off on my finger, so you can barely see it. Okay, and there we go. That's in. Same with the other one. Probably got enough grease on your fingers. Grease it over and it's hard to push because my fingers are greasy. There we go. There we go. Clean calipers, 2 brand new pistons, brand new seals, they're done. Fresh rubber, out of the packet. So, boink, boink, boink. We're going to put it through there. We're going to help it through there with a little bit of grease. Not very much. Okay, there's that one. And the other one goes on there or in there, depending on how you look at it. That's where it slides on this pin. There you go, there's your sliding mechanism. In a brake system, Overhaul, brake pads should be an obvious part. And that locks these 2 pads in. Ooh, hold it a bit stiller. There we go. Just going to do it like this. Yeah, I will be using a regular screwdriver to hand tighten it. That's me just checking that that's clear. That tastes lovely, and it is clear. I'm going to push this piston in enough for me to get it onto the disc, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm just going to spread those apart a little so that I can get it back on the bike with a gentle twist of a flat bladed screwdriver. There we go. Right, let's move and put these back on the bike.